How you doing?
How you doing, guys?
How are you?
I'm blessed, thank you. All right, what we got?
So I think it's the first time we talked to you.
Yes. I like that.
So can you tell us about just that process and taking over for Coach Len and how that came about and your reaction to that?
Yeah, obviously big shoes to fill from what we did last year on defense. So first off, we're going to keep the package the same. Our goal this spring was no different than Coach Bieniemy, to just try to get better in fundamentals. We really want to do that. So in order to do that, we don't want to change the package. So we're out here just trying to get better. And you can see Coach Foster, he's on everybody, coaches and players, just competing, not in the drills alone, but not in the team concept, but also in the drills. Like he's walking around and making sure we're deliberate in what we do and how that transfers over to team. So I think so far, spring is going well.
How much did last year's experience with the bowl game just kind of help ease that transition?
It did, because it gave me a good feel of the team itself. But obviously, I think you guys already know we lost quite a bit, especially the captain of our defense was Darius, and then we lost 5 guys on the outside edge. So in terms of replacing them, I can't. So we just got to manufacture some different ways of getting pressure differently, right? So we're just working on that. And for us, we're just calling plays to call plays so we can evaluate them. Does that give us enough to pressure a quarterback? So we're still in the evaluation process. But when we come to camp, hopefully what you guys saw with the 4-man rush, now we can produce with some way different.
Do you feel like there is the talent on this team to produce pressure on the quarterback, or do you feel like you need to get some more in the portal?
A little bit of both. I think there is talent on it, but when you bring the talent from another position, does the depth help us in that aspect, right? I think our inside linebacker crew is probably the most gifted and has the most depth. So those would be the rooms that I would kind of look at. Can we bring somebody from that side and get him out on the edge, and can he turn into a defensive end? I'll give you an example. Femi. Femi looks like a dang defensive end, but he's played Mike linebacker, so they cannot cut him off. He has access to both ways. Now, does that help us or hurt us if we put him on end? That's something we really got to evaluate. And then, obviously, through recruiting, trying to look to see if we can find someone with similar characteristics as Latu.
Schematically, how are you changing things from what Coach Len is doing, and what are you bringing from your background to kind of the defense this year?
Yeah, with the exception of just the words, the wording, and how I would like it to be done. There's buzzwords I believe in, but the scheme itself, we do want to keep it the same. We want to make sure we can kind of just really emphasize fundamentals and how that applies to the scheme and where it applies to the scheme. So for me, with the great coaching staff we'd have, right, with Brian, Tony, and Cody, I'm able to walk around and now specifically say, hey, this is where your drill fits into what we need, and go around the room while I'm coaching the linebackers as well.
When there was a transition from Coach Kelly to Coach Foster,
did
you kind of have to pitch yourself to Coach Foster, or did he just say, no, you're my guy, we're going to keep going forward?
Yeah, once Coach Kelly left, I thought that he was the best possible answer we could have. The thing I brag about Coach Foster is he's a walking blueprint for the success of UCLA, right? Like, for me, I went to University of Washington, so I can tell you what I've learned about UCLA and what I can sell for UCLA. Coach Foster walked it. He's a representation of every student athlete besides football of what you can get if you come to UCLA, right? He played here, graduated here. He's a Hall of Fame inductee from here. He went to the NFL, so he went to the highest possible level you can in his particular sport, right? He's a father and a husband. So for me, I constantly brag on him, because in terms of our recruiting, I want to make sure they know the guy that leads our particular program really is the blueprint for success if you choose UCLA.
Was there some offense-defense competition today? It seemed like you guys were keeping score. Scoreboard. So
yeah, no, I always keep score. I always keep score, only because to me, I'm gonna be really blunt. We don't all get trophies. I want my guys to know that we won the day or we did not. Period. Right, and if we did not, as coaches, what do we need to correct so we can win the day? Also, I want their mindset coming in. When those guys are walking in this building at 6'10", it's a competition, not, oh, by the way, we would like to compete. So every single day, I'm always competing. But today specifically, I wanted to make sure we won. Any type of, he put us in a red zone situation, I wanted to keep him out of the end zone. He put it out in the third down situation. I wanted to make sure we can put our hands up and signal fourth down. And finally, the last bit, when we were calling it, I wanted those guys to understand, whoever crossed that line, you represent everybody, so we needed to win.
So
Not that
there's
it-
like,
yeah, sorry,
just to follow up quick,
Go
so
ahead.
there's like objective things that you look for.
Absolutely.
Like a point or like a win. Or
Absolutely, absolutely. When we meet tomorrow as a defense, they have to understand, one, this is the direction that I want this team to go, and two, with the direction put it on you, did we win or not? And if we didn't, then myself as the coordinator, we need to fix that so we have the right mindset going forward.
21
Not
to
that it
14,
wasn't-
21 to 14. So you won pretty handily today. 21 to 14.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Not that it wasn't competitive before,
Yeah.
but is that something that there's been a growing emphasis on with this new staff, with you with DC and everything?
It's an emphasis for Coach Foster, right? So that might be the difference from what Coach Kelly had. There's times that Coach Kelly just made a sudden change. Coach Foster's way is just he wants it all the time. Like he never wants to turn it off. And that might be what you guys see in terms, you guys to call it energy, whatever you want
Right.
to call it. But it's the head man himself. You know, and you always get what you emphasize. And for him, he wants us to always have that competitive spirit. So now when we're talking about the pillars that he uses, the DRE, the discipline, respect, enthusiasm, that the actions actually represent that three pillars.
Your position coaching responsibilities have
Yeah.
changed a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're handling linebackers now?
Yeah, I'm handling linebackers. So it's kind of good because for me, I want the defense to run through them. I want them to see it through my eyes. And they understand I give them tools and not assignments, right? So they have a philosophy that they go on the field so they can use different tools in terms of maybe I want the defensive lineman to go here so I can go there. And maybe I want to drop back because of what the quarterback's doing. So at least that way they can see it through my eyes. And then every once in a while I have to go back to the defensive line because they're my kids, you know. So I don't want them getting mad at me either.
How much competitive juice does it add knowing, Eric Bieniemy's on the other side, screaming out his instructions and maybe kind of fire you guys up as a result?
Well, Eric Bieniemy is pretty juiced himself. Like that guy can get going. But for me, it's really an iron sharpens iron type of stuff. For me, he's actually helping our defense because we would see things that some offenses will never present until that week. Well, we see it every day. So I'm so grateful for that, for having a person like Coach Bieniemy that can teach me things. I mean, his office is right next to mine. So when we get upstairs, I'm always trying to ask for opinions on it, right? Like he's exposing our defense. You guys just don't see it. Sometimes we get to the quarterback fast enough, but there's a guy running clean down the field. So I got to clean it up, and he can help me by saying, hey, when this guy's out of position, we're really taking advantage. So I'm actually using him to my advantage so I can beat him in practice.
We saw Kanye Clark get his scholarship.
Yeah.
How important is the walk-on culture still? I mean, we saw the threes come out today
Yeah.
and everybody got excited.
Well, I have a heart for walk-ons because I was a walk-on at the University of Washington. So for us, a person like that, and he represents the DRE. And when Coach gave him that scholarship, that made me, it filled me with pride more than just Kanye because it just showed like the hard work regardless of scholarship, walk-on. So our recruiting process, we got to make sure we're bringing just as much walk-on that are willing to compete and know in their mind they can be a starter, no different than a scholarship. Hopefully we are right in our evaluation process, and you guys all know sometimes we're wrong. And with a guy like that, it just encourages everybody else that has that walk-on status with them, right? But I was a walk-on, so I felt for him because I know the gratification you get for all the hard work you put in, and now you can be recognized in front of the team. That was really, really cool. Yeah.
It might still be early in spring practice, but are there any guys that are like jumping at you, putting in a little extra effort?
Kanye? No. Yeah, I think the outside backers. Only because they have the heaviest load on their back. They know the shoes they're trying to fill, and they're taking it seriously. Would they look like the twins, Laiatu, CJ? Not necessarily, but they can bring something else to the table so we kind of know what their characteristics represent, and they're staying in that world, so that's good. Now myself as a coordinator, I just got to find how to reproduce the twins and Latus and Carl Jones, trying to get that pass rush going again.
Devin moved to edge.
Yeah.
He was D-tackle
Yep.
last year. What's he looked like? And I know he's kind of bounced around a
Yeah.
little bit in his career.
Yeah, so he will be a rotator in both positions, but for us in the Big Ten, anytime I think of Big Ten, I think of smash mouth football, and Devin fits that type of play. So we put him outside. You see Grant Bucky doing the same thing as well. He'll go inside and outside, but we just got to be able to be physical enough to compete with the teams in that league.
Got some turnover in the secondary, some new guys,
Yeah.
Ryan Addison, Ramon Anderson. What have you thought of those guys coming in?
I thought they're doing a great job. KJ, BA, as well as Ramon. So those guys they're doing, we call it do more, right? So as soon as they get off the field, they're up in a room and they're watching film. They're watching film together. They're watching film with coach because they understand that once I put them on between the white lines, they have to control our defense. So they're learning in the process. The good thing that they got is corners that have some veteran experience, so those guys can also help them. They're trying to make a check like, hey, no, this is the check. So they're learning as we're going, but I am really pleased with their progress through spring ball.
Coach Lynn had some sayings like, obnoxious communication, things like that. Do you have anything that you like to have these guys do or say?
We do. We have a mantra, but that'll be ours and ours only. We have a belief system, and I hope when it's all said and done, when the season's done, I'll let you guys know what it is. But our actions should represent that. But there is a culture that those guys are building because of what we believe in. I think we truly believe in, and basically what they're learning is teamwork. We can lean on each other, right? We don't need, saying this respectfully, we're not going to rely on the Latus and the Twins to go get home. We're going to have to rely on everybody. We might need a corner to create a pick to help out the pass rush or to protect, to cover for 7, 8, 9 seconds if we need to, so we can help out the pass rush. But they kind of know that we're in a different world here, but this will be our new identity and we'll move forward.
How many other coaches wear cleats for practice?
I don't know. It's you're gonna get me in trouble. My wife is actually gonna see this here. Yeah, I'm too old probably to wear cleats, but this is probably the only platform I got to act like a kid again, So in the office, I'll play coach, and out here, I try to be like the players. Those guys are running through the end zone, and I'm trying my best. I'm dead last, I get it. But I promise you, if one spring I beat it, you guys will hear about it. Because I won't let that guy go. I promise you, I'll let them know that I beat him because I'm too old. But this is it. Like when we're all having fun, that includes me and myself. On Saturdays, I would like to be the biggest cheerleader possible because all the work we put is on the front end, and then the players should be celebrating, and I want to be a part of that.
Before games, you kind of get yourself into a lather also, right? 'Cause I see you coming out pretty early.
You guys are paying attention to the wrong things, I'm telling you.
I mean, I'm out there. There's no one else out there.
Well, on game days, I say little. Throughout the week, I like to coach so they can understand what my mindset. But come Saturdays, this is really their time. And I will say almost absolutely nothing because the game plan is now in their hands. So for me, I try to get myself in my own mindset so I can think clearly enough. And the way to do it is to try to run out all my nerves so I can just give them the call. They understand it. It's not the caller in our defense. It's the guys that execute the call and then make the call work for them. There's so many tools that they can use, and they change the calls on the field all the time based on what they see. They want to do this, and I say go for it. You guys are the one winning the game, so we're kind of learning that.
What do you remember about being a walk-on? I mean, culture is different today than it was back then, I'm sure, but it seems kind of cut through.
Culture is very different from back in the day. We actually had I'm a Don James guy, so we actually had different locker rooms. Walk-ons were in a separate locker room than the scholarship players, and you have to earn your right to get there. And then once you get there, you have to earn your right to stay there. So I remember that same day that they gave me the locker. I actually cried. I really cried, and I forgot to call my mom. And somebody else called my mom to congratulate. So she was really, really pissed. So I got scolding for that.
Then you cried again.
Then I cried again. You're right. I was glad she wasn't in Seattle at the time. But no, that I cherish those moments, and I've always held that deep inside of me. So when we look for walk-ons, we don't look for bodies. We look for guys that are willing to compete and the guys that have the edge on their shoulder. And the guy that got awarded the scholarship, I promise you, he probably have the biggest edge on his shoulder. And that's the thing, his mindset will never change. Scholarship or not, I promise you, he will continue to have that edge because now he's going to have to prove why he is that and then try to climb the depth chart from there.
Were you there when Coach Moore was there?
No, he came after me.
Okay.
Yep, he came after me.
Awesome.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.